Yesterday marked 1 year since the attempted assassination on then presidential candidate Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. President Trump, you remember, grazed by that bullet right in the ear, had non-life-threatening injuries. One person was killed, though, and 2 others seriously injured in the crowd. And that incident, of course, raised serious questions about the effectiveness of the Secret Service in that moment. 2 congressional committees just releasing their final reports on the assassination attempt, including what Senator Rand Paul calls, quote, stunning failures by the U.S. Secret Service. Well, last week, the Secret Service suspended 6 agents and outlined changes the agency has implemented since Butler, and that includes improvements in training and technology. Here's what President Trump said about what he has learned about some of the potential missteps on the law enforcement side.
They briefed me, and I'm satisfied with it. I'm satisfied with it. They should have had somebody in the building. That was a mistake. They should have had communications with the local police. They weren't tied in. And they should have been tied in. So there were mistakes made.
With more perspective on this, I'm joined now by our ABC News contributor and former Secret Service agent, Don Mahalik. Don, thank you for being here with us. And you and I have talked about this incident many a time. And I know that you sort of the opinion here that the Butler incident and the results and the failures here were in coordination and communication. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's absolutely fair to say. The Secret Service didn't really establish the command and control it typically does at these sites, meaning they didn't get to the site, lay out the strategy to the local law enforcement officers, make sure everybody understood what their roles and functions were. And in addition to that, they didn't make sure that the lines of communication were clear. Most clearly highlighted by the 90 minutes ahead of time that the local police officers apparently had the suspect identified, but failed to report it to the Secret Service until almost the last minute. Those are the clear gaps in communication, in addition to not blocking the line of sight at Butler.
Mm-hmm. And so tell me what your thoughts on where the agency stands now and the improvements that they're talking about making.
Well, I think the agency has a lot of time to make up. And I point back to September 12, 2001, where the agency's protective mission doubled, its investigative mission expanded under the Patriot Act. But it really received marginal support over the past 20 years with staffing, funding, and resources. Congress laid out 37 recommendations that they want the Secret Service to undertake. The Secret Service embraced a lot of those that have come out. About a dozen of those sit with Congress, who haven't acted on any of them. And some of these issues were also highlighted in the 2014 Protection Mission Panel report, where after the fence jumper incidents, it took almost 10 years for the Secret Service to get the funding and the resources to start raising the White House fence. Then in 2016, the Rand Corporation did a report about the Secret Service and said, unless it receives its funding and staffing, it is going to be trade-offs with its missions. And we saw some of those trade-offs in Butler.
All right, especially when you point out to a clear moment of accountability, and accountability keeps coming up in these reports as well, saying that they need to have clear lines of accountability. They found insufficient accountability. Also, to your point, the concerns over communication between federal and state law enforcement agencies.
Yeah, so after 9/11, Congress passed a bill to increase interoperability amongst all law enforcement agencies. To date, that still hasn't happened because the technology is very complicated with radio communications. I know the Secret Service is looking at some technology in order to fix that, but still, even to this day, if you have multiple agencies from multiple departments at a site, nobody is on the same frequency. Hence why the Secret Service institutes a counterpart system and a security room where everybody is sitting in the security room with their radios in order to streamline communications. Of course, we know at Butler, for some reason, there was a second security room where the Secret Service wasn't represented, and that caused a lot of the problems and some of the communication issues that played out in Butler.
All right, Don Mahalik, our thanks to you, as always, for being here with us.